Have you ever thought about what it's like to be a celebrated artist? You know, a real voice of your culture? Now imagine picking up and moving to a completely new country, where all of a sudden that powerful voice just fades to a whisper. Today, we're going to talk about a really specific, hidden challenge that's not about losing talent, but about losing your entire context.
Okay, let's dive right in, because this really gets to the heart of it. We tend to think that your professional skills are something you can just, pack up in your suitcase and take with you. But it's not that simple. On the one hand, you've got a scientist. Their knowledge, math, physics, it works the same everywhere. But for an artist, so much of what makes their work valuable is tied to things that just don't make it through customs.
So what is this thing that gets lost in translation? Well, it's that shared understanding, right? It's the cultural inside jokes, the historical nods, all those unspoken connections that make a piece of art really hit home. A scientist's formula is a universal language, but an artist's cultural language, well, that often needs a translator that doesn't exist.
And that brings us to the first big idea here. Art is not created in a vacuum. It lives and breathes in the shared cultural world. And when you take that world away, the art can be totally misunderstood. Or even worse, it can just become invisible.
This right here, this is that world we're talking about. An artist's value is built on these incredibly deep roots, a shared language, a collective memory, an audience that gets it. When an artist immigrates, they are basically uprooted from that rich soil. Suddenly, their entire professional history is like a book written in a language no one can read, and their audience is thousands of miles away.
And here's the crucial part. People often see this as just a personal struggle, Oh, they're just adjusting. But it's not. What we're actually looking at is a major flaw in the system, a complete failure to see that this is a unique kind of professional displacement. It's a huge systemic blind spot.
So that leads us to a whole new way of looking at this problem. It comes from an amazing organization called Vanchon, and it's a core idea they call the seed.
Now, the seed isn't some complicated program. It's actually a really simple, powerful understanding. It's this core belief that if the problem is built into the system, then the solution has to be too. We can't just help one person at a time. We actually have to build a whole new structure.
This quote, it just nails it. But for me, the most important word here is restores. This isn't charity. It's not about giving a handout. It's about rebuilding the essential conditions, the soil, the sunlight, the water, that let that creativity take root and really flourish all over again.
So, right, if the problem is that they've lost their entire ecosystem, well, the solution has to be to build a new one. This isn't about a one-time check or a temporary gig. It's about creating a living, breathing, sustainable place to grow. And this is Vanchon's incredible vision, a whole network of these innovative art parks. And you should think of them less like buildings and more like launch pads. They're these vibrant, living communities designed from the ground up to help newly immigrated artists relaunch their careers.
Okay, so what do these art parks actually do? How do they bring back those conditions we were talking about? Let's break it down. The key is that each park is a whole, self-contained community. It's the whole shebang. It gives you not just a studio to work in, but a secure place to live. Not just a space to create, but galleries and venues to actually connect with a brand new audience. They even bring in nature, orchards, gardens for well-being, and provide mentorship to help artists rebuild those crucial professional networks.
And this is why this should matter to all of us, not just the artists themselves. Because when these voices are silenced, we all lose something huge. We lose cultural memories, we lose new perspectives, and we lose out on the kind of incredible innovation that only happens when different worlds collide.
So the big question, how does a vision this big actually happen? Well, it starts with something way simpler than a big donation. It starts with a process of just understanding and then sharing that understanding.
I absolutely love how this is laid out. Notice step one isn't write a check. The first, most powerful thing you can do is simply get the problem. And once you really see it, you can believe in the solution. And when you believe, you can't help but spread the word. That's how a real movement starts, with a shared idea that grows into a community of support.
So we end up right back where we started, with a big question. Now that we understand this problem, what do we do about it? How much more creativity, how much innovation, how much cultural memory are we really willing to let just get lost in translation, simply because we haven't bothered to build the right bridges? It's definitely a question worth thinking about.